Welcome to our recap of the 10th round here at the 2024 candidates. Vishy, can you tell us about the big news of the day?
Okay, the big news of the day, obviously, is that Irina won our bet. She bet that two people would win in the Open tournament, and I bet that only one would win. And in the end, well, I have that story for you. We'll see.
Yeah, and amazingly, the help came my way from my fellow Americans, Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana. They are the winners of the day. Hikaru winning a worst position at some point against Nijat Abbasov, and Fabiano winning an endgame against Ali Reza, also in an intense time scramble. So this was really a big day in terms of the Open standings, because these two players now climb to within half a point of the leaders Nepo and Gukesh, as well as they're joined by Prague, and Vidit is actually still only 1 point behind the leading group. I mean, he's in 6th place, sole 6th place, but he's only 1 point behind the people in 1st to 2nd. So, I mean, actually, we can't write him off either, Vishy.
Correct. And if you, even if Hikaru and Fabiano had not won today, there would still be 6 people within 1 point of the leaders. But now 3 of them are half a point behind, and only one is 1 point behind. But you're right, it's an amazing competitive event.
Yeah, and so, I mean, kind of surprisingly, we see Ali Reza, in clear 7th place. Probably at this point, we can say that he's not really going to be competing for, the first spot. This game today sets him back. But he's still going to be a force to be reckoned with in the coming rounds. So in the women's results, we have also some very big results, especially Lei Tingji winning again with the black pieces against the top seed Alexandra Garechkina. They were tied for 2nd to 3rd, and now Lei knocks Garechkina back and is actually tied for the lead with Tan. She has 6.5 out of 10. They're on +3, and Garechkina and Lagno are now tied for 3rd to 4th with 5.5 in a very dramatic game that went to the last minutes between Salimova and Vaishali. Vaishali got an unexpected win from a position that was already in drawing territory. So let's walk through the games of the day.
Sure. Okay, let me start with the 2 decisive games of the day. Hikaru was white, and he had prepared this little improvement over Nepomniashchi's game against Abbasov, where Nepo had to end up with his bishop on e2, and he seemed to do well. At this point, it may be that black has to play g5, but Nijat came up with an original plan, but somehow very soon he had a very uncomfortable position, just all his pieces under pressure. Round about here, he had a pretty big advantage. Rook b8 would have been a very strong move, but instead the game went on, and the twists and turns were amazing. g5 was incredibly strong as well, but after bishop f4, queen c6, rook b8, knight e7, suddenly Hikaru was forced to wander back, and Abbasov had basically escaped. Then, round about here, Abbasov pushes Hikaru all the way back to c1. And if he had played bishop c7, debatable whether he's slightly better or not, but at least he's very, very comfortable. Instead, he went queen e7, and suddenly after bishop e5, the game had turned around again. And once Abbasov was forced to give up the exchange, Hikaru cunningly got the queens off the board and collected the a pawn and just won the game. So once rook a3, rook a8 check, and a4 happened, nothing could stop the a pawn anymore. Similar story in Fabiano against Alireza. Fabiano actually got a slightly accidental opportunity. If Firuzha plays a quiet move like rook b8, and by the way, I've gotten to this point, but you might want to see why there's a queen being attacked by a bishop and nothing happens. It's actually based on this sacrifice. Queen takes g5, queen takes g5, bishop h6, h4. And if you capture, then the knight has to move, and this was the tension in the position. So
yeah, one of the unusual things about this position was how long that queen
tension could endure.
Kept sitting on g5. You rarely see that, right? But like
Yes.
one side was seemingly with an extra queen. Yeah, and the question
But here
was,
Fabiano missed a very good chance, which admittedly is very hard to see, but you capture and you play this move e5. If black captures knight e5, then suddenly f4. Now the queen, which has been sitting next to the bishop forever, is threatening to escape because the pin has been broken. So you have to take. And we have a situation where both knights are being attacked at the same time by two different pawns. Very unusual. Fabiano missed that, but then somehow got an advantage. So Alireza had to play carefully, which he seemed to do, and seemed to generate enough counterplay. But at this point, king f7, bishop c4, it was important to just step aside and attack the pawn. In effect, once the threat of a discovered attack disappears, black's threatening to capture the pawn, and he would have been fine. But after this blunder, Fabiano had time to walk his king over to defend that pawn, and now it's totally different. Alireza tried one clever gamble, bishop f7, because if he goes king f6, Fabiano will exchange rooks here and have a winning bishop ending. He tried it in a different way, but after rook c7, the same problem. Fabiano just exchanges the rooks on the 6th rank instead of the 7th, and the bishop ending is totally won. So dramatic turnarounds. I think Alireza and Abasu are playing much better now, but still they had this one lapse and were punished severely for it. But maybe this is the lucky break that both Hikaru and Fabiano, and especially Fabiano, has been stuck for a long time. I've already been saying that if he gets that one break, he'll have a momentum on his side, and maybe this is it. So we have 5 people within half point of each other at the top, followed by Vidit a point behind. But of course, the emotional dynamics are much more important. And given that the participants appear to be getting tired, as is natural after 10 rounds of such a difficult tournament, I really believe that anything can happen from now on.
yeah, I mean,
Even Irina winning her bet. But
oh, that's a very likely thing to happen. But yeah, I mean, they're really putting the pressure on the leaders. So it's hard to really say that, like, you know, that it's just so competitive at the top, right? I mean, Nepo and Gukesh are not like convincingly running away with the tournament at all. So there is going to be so much more action in the final rounds, with 6 people potentially being capable of winning first place here. So the game of the day in the women was certainly this one between Lei and Geryachkina, and I'm not going to give you a long recap of everything that happened in this game, but the key moment that led to Geryachkina losing was actually the wrong recapture of a pawn with
61,
her knight.
61 actually.
Oh, there you go. Yes. So this situation, she had a knight for 3 pawns, and Lei tries her last chance because this pawn is under attack. She goes forward, and the right way to capture here was actually this way. You get rid of that pawn, and then you go after this pawn in some way, and you catch it miraculously. I mean, it gets really close to queening, but you're just in time, and you make a draw. Instead, she went with this capture on e5. She thought that she was going to be able to pick up the pawn like that. But then king f4 came. That was what she had missed. And then the king takes the pawn like this, and she actually cannot stop the f-pawn. It's amazing, but this knight, which doesn't even look like it's too far away, simply cannot deal with the f-pawn, and it just walks up the board, and that's it. So those are games of the day. And Vishy, it's your last day with us. So I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the chess fans who've been watching us. You know, it's not every world champion that makes time to do commentary and to share, you know, their experience and their insights and with the chess community. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Irina. And I think it's fair to say that we have to really congratulate all 16 players for the unbelievable show they're putting on. Every day has been dramatic for us.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave a running bet with you.
All right.
I'll take 1 win for the remaining 4 rounds, and you take 2.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so you can declare the winner every day.
Yeah, I won't. Okay, that sounds good, actually.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the last 10 games, and I look forward to 4 more exciting ones. There's a rest day tomorrow, and we will now leave you with Pragnananda's Fan Zone interview. Bye-bye.